So for last week on my fantasy reviews, I did a review for N.K. Jemisin's novel "100,000 Kingdoms," which you know what I think I'm going to go ahead and like retcon like my first review. I think I'm going to go back and rescore that. I think I initially gave that a 3 out of 5, but as I sit on it and the more I think about it, I think I could bump that up to a 4. I think that honestly that probably deserves a 4 out of 5. Doing so when I found out N.K. Jemisin was doing actual like comic books, she was actually writing a comic book. I was like, oh, of course, yes. What is it? Where is it? I'm into it. Like initially, just off the break, yeah, did not disappoint with this. So and I love her writing style. It actually like really transitions well into this. And so this is of course, as you can see, it's a character in the DC universe, but the kind of like the best parts about it, it's like in the far off kind of corner of it. It doesn't it's in its own thing, its own isolated story and tell, and that kind of makes it a lot better to me because she can actually be at like very much NK and into her own story and world and kind of create it from there. And so okay, so what is this about? So a Green Lantern named Sojourner Moulin, or Joe for short, has been dispatched to a city on the edge of the universe named the City Enduring, where there's been the first murder in over 500 years there. And so Joe is assigned to go there and get to the bottom of it before the city kind of implodes into a civil war. So like she gets there and tensions are like very high. And yeah, that's legit all I wrote down about it. And so yeah, so she gets there, and tensions are very high, and there's like 3 different races at play, like alien races at play, and they've all kind of been living, in peace and harmony, way out on the edge of the universe until a body turns up, and so that kind of starts this whole kind of whodunit murder mystery, kind of like a main cast of characters that's involved in it, and so Joe has to go around and find out, why, who did it, why they did it, and uncovers this whole kind of plot that's happening there. Kind of a good piece, a nugget in the story is that there is kind of there's a drug in here, which I think in the story they call it like an exploit, where that kind of strips away the emotions from like the whole population, and so I think some genius came up with the idea of like because there was a point where they were all kind of warring against each other, and matter of fact they're all kind of on this kind of floating colony out in space, really, because like they had these huge wars where they kind of destroyed the planet. And so they had to find out how to live together on this like colony, this floating colony, and without killing each other. And so this guy came up with the genius idea. Well, let's just take emotion away, right? So we can't if we don't have emotion, then we can't get riled up or mad at each other. Then that should solve everything, right? Genius. why why didn't we think of this sooner? No, that's not that doesn't help. we we don't have to get to like the whole 12 issues in there to figure out that doesn't help. That's not an answer. Said earlier that there are like 3 races at play. The first race is the Ketopli. I guess that's it's KEH hyphen TOPLI. So Ketopli is how I think that's said. So they are a humanoid species that's been evolved from plants. They are, I think they're kind of considered the more aggressive race, in this story, in this universe, and so much so that they actually, these are plant people that like eat people, right? So, and NK kind of flips it on his head where the normally when it comes to plants, like they're very defensive or whatever, and so they're usually the thing that's being consumed. But She flips it to where like, no, actually, so this is a race of like plant people that actually like do the consuming. You know what I mean? And so that was interesting and kind of fun, and they look pretty gnarly and kind of vicious and badass. The other race is called the AT-ATs. I cannot say that without thinking Star Wars, but they are basically AI beings that's born from like the alien version of the internet. And the way NK kind of writes them, it's like the at sign at, and so like, yeah, I really like the at. So, and their names are pretty cool too. They're avatar names. So Joe's has like this AI assistant in here that's called Can Has, as in that really old meme from I Can Has a cheeseburger or something that has the cat meme to it. And apparently they somehow, because they're supposed to be like on the edge of the farthest edge of the universe, but they somehow come in contact with our data feeds, and so they kind of like were raised off of like Earth memes, and so like all of the AI people here, the at people, they kind of have like names that are kind of based on or very. If you're familiar with memes, then you'd be kind of familiar with their names, kind of like Ken Has. And so the third race is called the Nas, and they're kind of humanoid beings too, but they have like these kind of like pointed ears, and they have wings, and they have like these tails, but it kind of reminds me of like fish tails or something like that. Yeah, and I love so. If you read anything N.K. Jemisin, it's her names. Like she has a way of writing like these really, really awesome names for her characters, and even in Far Sector, it's the same thing too. So the Nas in here have these like very kind of tribal names to them. It would to me it reminds me of like Native American kind of names, where it's the name is kind of like it's a name, but it's also kind of a statement at the same time. Like, yeah. So one of the names in here is, I believe it's the victim here. That she's kind of been called to this colony basically to investigate the murder of. The guy's name is Steven of the Glacier by the Wavering Dark, which is I love that. Like I really love that. Like that was for me that was one of the best parts of the story, just to see how she comes up with these names. I know how it might seem like really kind of contrived or just like over the top, maybe to some people, but to me it was chef kiss. Yeah, there's another character whose name is Duel of the Sea by the Churning. Yeah, and so one of the main characters in this is called Season of the Cliffs by the Striking Ice. And it's just, stuff, it's stuff like that where NK kind of puts her just unique mark on it that is really, really kind of cool to me. What else? Another thing I really like about this is the artwork. Like the artwork by Jamal Campbell is absolutely amazing. So I think he did the artwork and he also did the coloring in it. And it very much looks like kind of like computer generated coloring too, but like the way his artwork in this pops just so amazingly. And it's I think because I read kind of everything on my iPad, all my comic books I kind of read on my iPad, and it just the way this series just kind of popped off that screen, man, it was a lot of it was kind of jaw dropping. And I'm kind of scrolling through some pictures of it now, and yeah, I'm telling you, man, just when it like going through the pages on this on the iPad, it just seemed like it just popped off the screen. Like it almost seemed like as the artwork seems as futuristic as the world that the story is taking place in, and I absolutely loved it. Like what some of these panels, there's a couple of these panels, I just kind of like ripped off of like my iPad, and I'm using it as the background on my PC that I'm on right now. It was that amazing, and it was just like it almost seemed like it was holographic almost. It just almost seemed like the next kind of step in reading comics. Like since everything's digital, and we're just missing just like to just literally just kind of like be a holographic picture where it's like it has like 3D shape and form and everything. And yeah, it's man, this I absolutely this is probably some of the best and greatest of art and use of coloring that I have seen in a comic book yet. Like the artwork in this is absolutely just stunning. I mean, there's nothing that I really don't like about this, honestly, except for this is part of a DC imprint called Young Animals, and that was my if I had to give one thing I hate, it's just like why I got to be Young Animal, the one kind of like. Oh, not one, because there's John Stewart, and is there another Black Lantern? I don't think so. I think it might just be Sojourner and John Stewart, but I don't know. It had the Young Animal. I don't know. It might just be me looking into things, but yeah, I don't know. That was I could have did without that. But yeah, no, this is a really good story. Hopefully we get Joe in the wider DC universe too. I would love to see her pop into like a Green Lantern series here and there. Maybe have her own kind of ongoing thing. I would love to see that too. But yeah, so yeah, Far Sector. This is a definite 5 out of 5 for me. Really liked it. Really enjoyed it. It wasn't like some long drawn out thing. It was just long enough for you to kind of get into a cool little story and get out. And yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, Far Sector by N.K. Jemisin and Jamal Campbell. 5 out of 5.